There's a strange moment that happens in life. A shift so quiet, yet so powerful. It changes everything. It's the moment you stop explaining yourself. The moment you stop reacting. The moment you go silent. And suddenly, the same people who ignored you, underestimated you, or disrespected you, begin to notice something. Something's different about you. You've become untouchable. Your silence now speaks louder than their words ever did. And that's when they realize. Too late. 1. Silence is power. They can't decode. Most people mistake silence for weakness. They think if you're quiet, you've lost. If you don't respond, you're defeated. If you don't react, you're broken. But the truth is, silence is the final stage of transformation. It's when you've burned through pain, rejection, and anger, and emerged as something unshakable. When you go silent, you stop playing their game. You stop giving them emotional fuel. You stop letting them live rent-free in your head. That's when your silence becomes their mirror, reflecting their mistakes, their guilt, their loss. Because nothing tortures a manipulative, arrogant, or egotistical person more than realizing they no longer have access to your energy. 2. Shift. They never expected. They expected your anger. They expected your reaction. They expected you to beg, explain, or chase. But you did the opposite. You went quiet. And that silence hit them harder than any words could. In a world where everyone's trying to prove something, your silence proves everything. It says, I don't need to prove anymore. It says, I've evolved beyond your level of noise. You see, when you detach, they panic. Because your silence removes their control. It leaves them questioning their worth, their decisions, their power. That's when realization strikes. They thought they broke you. But your silence shows. You built yourself. 3. Stoic principle of detachment. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." Meaning, your peace is your choice. When you master silence, you master emotional control. You decide what disturbs your soul and what doesn't. Silence is not about ignoring the world. It's about mastering yourself. It's a declaration of dominance, not over others, but over your own emotions. When you can sit in silence after betrayal, rejection, or humiliation, and still remain calm, that's the level of power most men never reach. That's Stoicism in its purest form. Emotions acknowledged, but never surrendered to. 4. Psychology behind silence. Psychologically, silence triggers uncertainty. When someone can't read your reaction, they start overthinking. Their brain craves a response, anger, sadness, anything, just to regain control. But when you give them nothing, it creates mental chaos. They replay everything in their head. Did I go too far? Why isn't he responding? Did he stop caring? And eventually, did I lose him for good? Your silence becomes a psychological weapon, not of revenge, but of dominance. It's calm, controlled, and calculated. You've removed their power to affect you. And that's the greatest revenge a man can have. Total indifference. 5. Power of walking away without a sound. When you walk away silently, people expect you to return. They think your silence is temporary. But when you never come back, that's when it breaks them. Your absence forces them to face their own emptiness. They start missing the energy you once gave freely, your attention, your effort, your presence. They realize they mistook kindness for weakness and patience for permission. But the thing about silence is, it teaches you what words can't. It teaches you that you don't need closure from them. You need clarity within yourself. It teaches you that sometimes the best response is none at all. Because silence doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't explain. It ends things. It closes doors so quietly that only your peace remains. 6. Stoic man in modern chaos. A modern Stoic man isn't loud. He's not out proving his worth or seeking attention. He's calm. He's patient. He knows his value doesn't decrease because someone couldn't see it. In a world of noise, a Stoic man's silence is terrifying because it shows restraint, control, and self-respect. When a man no longer argues, he's not weak, he's wise. When he no longer reacts, he's not numb, he's selective. And when he goes silent, it's not indifference, it's mastery. He's learned that true power doesn't need to announce itself. It simply is. 7. The return of power. The day you go silent is the day you take your power back. You stop wasting energy on convincing others to understand you. You stop over-explaining to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing validation that you already outgrew. Now, your focus shifts inward. Your body, your discipline, your growth, your peace. You no longer chase women, attention, or approval, because your silence has taught you value through absence. And ironically, that's when they come back. Curious, confused, regretful. They want to know why you changed. They want the old version of you, the one that cared too much, gave too much, spoke too much. But that version died the day you embraced silence. Now you don't talk. You move differently. You don't explain. You show results. You don't chase. You attract. That's when your silence turns into dominance. 8. Regret hits them hard. At first, they think your silence is a game, but time proves it's not. Days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, and they realize you're not coming back. That's when regret sets in. They start to remember your presence, your words, your energy. Every memory becomes a reminder of what they lost. You've moved on, silently, but your silence now lives rent-free in their mind. It haunts them, not because you left, but because you didn't explain why. They realize too late. The one they ignored became the one they can't forget. 9. Inner evolution. Silence is not just absence of noise. It's transformation. It's the stage where your focus shifts from them to you. You stop waiting for closure and start creating purpose. You stop chasing attention and start building discipline. You hit the gym. You read. You improve your body, your mind, your presence. And the world starts to notice. Not because you're trying to be seen, but because you've built yourself in silence. People can sense the difference. Your energy changes. Your walk changes. Your eyes no longer seek validation. They radiate certainty. That's the power of silence. It rebuilds you, piece by piece, into something unrecognizable. Someone unstoppable. 10. Final lesson. Silence doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've risen above. It means you've realized not everything deserves your voice. Not every battle deserves your effort. Not every person deserves your explanation. Your silence is your filter. It keeps your peace protected. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And sometimes, the greatest reaction is none at all. So stay silent. Not because you don't have something to say, but because your peace, your focus, and your growth matter more. They'll realize someday what your silence meant, but by then, you'll be too far gone, too focused, too evolved. And when they finally understand your silence, it'll be too late. Remember this: a man's silence is his final form of strength. It's his way of saying, I no longer react. I choose peace. So the next time someone tries to break your composure, don't fight. Don't explain. Don't react. Just go silent. Let your silence speak the language of power, because those who once took your voice for granted will one day beg for your silence to end. But it won't, because silence changed everything. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. Subscribe for more powerful Stoicism and psychology. Comment: Stoic, if you agree.